Thank you very much for coming, everybody. My name's Antony. The Physio Detective is my business, but now I work here at Sydney Sports Therapy, so I've kind of got dual identity. Jessica is the owner of Sydney Sports Therapy. Jessica's a myotherapist, personal trainer, exercise therapist, and we've been working together for a long time. 7 years. She's put up with me for 7 years. We sort of were like apart for a little while, but and she used to work for me at Penshurst, and now I work with her. She doesn't like me saying I work for her. All right. It helps when you turn this on. So what we're going to do tonight, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about this place, a little bit about me, just types of patients that I see, the information that I need from you, ask you what information you need from me as referrals, and we're going to have a little practical time if you're interested in just some of the concepts that I've developed to help women with incontinence, pelvic organ prolapse and chronic pelvic pain. A bit of a conclusion, resources, acknowledgements, all the usual stuff. So, Sydney Sports Therapy. Jessica started Sydney Sports Therapy maybe about 4 months ago, and I've been here just about a couple of months. So it's all very new. We run exercise classes here. As you can see, all the weights and monkey bars and ropes and all fun stuff. We've got Pilates as well. We've got Jane, who couldn't make it tonight. I'm the main physio here at the moment. Tony will be doing some hours here as well. And who else is there? We've got Jane. Lana's on maternity leave. All right. About me. Now, I don't want this to be a massive ad about me, but it does help. If you don't know me, it kind of helps to know what I do, who I am, and all that sort of stuff. So first of all, on the right-hand side of this screen are my qualifications. I've done a bachelor's, a master's, I've done specialization training, CrossFit qualifications, all sorts of stuff. I'm not an employee of CrossFit, by the way, and I treat what I call at the junction of where sports, musculoskeletal and women's health meet. So that's that. My other qualifications, when I speak to personal trainers and fitness professionals, are the ones on the right, because some people just won't listen to you if you don't know how to lift heavy or if you don't know what you're doing. And I found that I might give the same advice as a women's health physio, but because I know what it feels like to pick up a double bodyweight deadlift, they're going to listen to my way of telling them, even though I'm telling them exactly the same way that a women's health physio might, which is ridiculous personally, I think, but you know, it is what it is. Some people are funny. So my women's health experience, believe it or not, I've been doing women's health type issues for 20 years. So I started in Auburn Hospital on the antenatal clinic, rotation and the maternity ward, and I actually did some antenatal education for a couple of years as well. And then I moved to Sans Souci, and then a year later into Penshurst as well. So I had 2 clinics running, and I was working with the local doctors, obstetricians and gynecologists for people who had pelvic pain, SIJ, pubic symphysis, diastasis, anything that was kind of musculoskeletal and didn't need an internal examination, basically. I've always been doing different sports. I do many different sports, but CrossFit I've been doing for about 5 years now. And, you know, it is hard, it is intense, it does look rough, and women have problems, but just like they have problems with running and all the other boot camp type exercises that are out there. So we can talk about CrossFit another time if you like. I got extra training through the Women's Health Teaching Associates with Taryn Hallam. So that was really good. And what was particularly exciting was seeing some of my ideas supported by the research and just learning so much more about the things that I didn't know. You know how you don't know what you don't know until someone tells you about stuff and you go, whoa, I just didn't know so much. And teaching, so I teach fitness professionals and the public. I go around different gyms, I teach them about the basics of women's health issues, pelvic floor dysfunction, and I developed that course. It's online now as an online course for people to purchase, and lots of personal trainers, particularly in America, have been buying it. It's only $100 Australian. It's 5.5 hours of education. And the public do as well. And I've been teaching women's health physios and regular physios in America and Canada on how to treat CrossFitters with pelvic floor dysfunction, female athlete issues, and moving beyond motor control. So moving beyond all the Hodges and Richardson, Hydes type stuff, and moving into functional movement training, and just trying to upskill physios from doing little itty bitty exercises into actually heavy stuff. All right, so my mission is twofold with women's health. So number one, women's health physios are the experts. I'm not the expert, okay? I tell every single person who attends my seminars that anyone who does exercise more than walking, and even with walking now, based on recent research, you should have an internal women's health assessment. It's different to an obstetrician or a gynecologist or your GP doing it. And so everyone gets told that. So my job, I think, is to help you, women's health physios, raise the issues and the concerns, and you girls see the worst of the worst. So I want to help you to be able to tell the public what's going on out there. That's what I see part of my role as. And then the other part of my role is to liaise with the fitness industry and with all the people that want to do heavy lifting, running, jumping, and all the functional fitness stuff, and help women's health physios understand how to modify technique and understand what's going on, and show you some different things that I've developed so that we can work together in making sure that the patients stay doing the things that they love doing. And there's so many mothers that go to CrossFit or the gym or the health club or wherever, where it's like, this is me time and I'm not going to do it. You know, I was on the phone to a women's health physio just chatting about whether or not she could come tonight, and she was saying that she saw, I think it was a gynecologist or an obstetrician who had just had a baby and said, now, I'm here because I need you to check me, but if you tell me that I'm not allowed to run, then I'm leaving now. So she just put all the cards on the table and said, I have to run, and let's work from there. So these are the sorts of things that I get. I get clients that have been to a women's health physio and then come seek me out because they don't like being told that they can't do anything. So then it's my job to help them translate what you want to know, and it's my job to help translate to them what they need to know too. I just want to work together. Okay, so my methods: social media, a bit of a pest on Facebook. You can go onto the women's health physio groups that are there, and I used to ask quite challenging questions and upset quite a lot of people, which is good because I've seen change. So there's been a big change in the last 3 or 4 years. I remember telling people that I've taught, you know, mums who had just had a baby, teaching them how to safely maneuver 15, 20 kilos in lifting, and only a few weeks postpartum, and the hate that I got from that was ridiculous. Until I started pointing out that prams are 15 kilos and babies weigh 5 kilos, and those stupid carriers that people walk around with, you know. So it's been good the last 4 years. I run a podcast called the Pelvic Health Podcast. So if you haven't heard of it, look it up. It's on iTunes, it's on SoundCloud, it's on the blog, it's in your resources list. And there's a real women's health physio on there, you know, making sure that I say the right things. I get to be the dumb guy because I don't know much, and she gets to ask all the interesting questions, and we get fantastic guests on the podcast about many different subjects. So it's really, really cool, especially if you do long driving. The online education, so I'm trying to develop courses and get them online so that people can access them. The course that I run, the $100 one that I said that's online, when I run that in gyms, I make it by donation only, because I don't want money to be the reason why you can't get information. So donation only is how I run that particular course. There are other courses, of course, that I have to charge more for because they're a lot more work. So they're the in-person courses and education. Mentoring, so I do mentoring, and I'm trying to develop my mentoring programs, and I'll have a women's health component in that. And then clinical consultations. Me seeing exercise people is going to change the world really slowly, because there's only so many people that I can see. As far as I'm concerned, if you want to change the world, you've got to work by multiplication. And that means that if I can see 10 people, or if I can affect 10 physios, who can then affect 10 other physios, then we can start multiplying the information out there. It's not about just trying to get business for me, because seriously, I won't change the world that way. That's just addition. That's just adding numbers to my load. I really want to see multiplication of these ideas go out there. All right, my patients, they're doing CrossFit, F45, boot camp, pump class, aerobics, body attack, RPM, powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, running sand dunes, doing personal training, group personal training. They're doing field sports, court sports, indoor, outdoor, and they're old through to young, and they've had babies, they've not had babies, and they're from the very novice to the very elite. So I'm seeing all sorts of different people. And these are the types of people that I need internal examination information on. Because if I'm going to give a really good service, I need to know what's going on in there. So my work is integrating women's health physio treatments into high-level fitness. So stress urinary incontinence with impact and heavy loads tends to be the main one there for incontinence. Pelvic organ prolapse risk and symptom management is important. Chronic pelvic pain risk and symptom management. Antenatal and postnatal musculoskeletal pain and issues. Diastasis issues, and whatever a functional core means. So I can tell you I've been educated by the best on how to feel multifidus and transversus, and how to feel the pelvic floor through the synergy of other tissues moving, and of course breathing and diaphragm. And if I sit down and I spend lots of time with you on that, then you must be really broken. Because if I can see you moving segmentally, I can see you moving nicely, then you're probably going to have something going well there and that we can use. I move away from cueing different things, and some of that we'll do tonight. So I don't do internal work, okay? That's why I need your help. So the information I need from your assessments is pretty simple, and I've got it on the list there for you. Any incontinence, any pelvic organ prolapse, any pelvic pain and issues, so type, staging, measurement, severity, how you're managing it. These are all interesting things to me. And I don't know what it's like dealing with other physios that you've come across, but I actually understand what some of these things are. It's not like you're dealing with somebody that goes, oh no, please, details, no. Okay, if you tell me that they've got an anterior wall prolapse and you think it's more bladder than urethra, like I actually know what the differences are, and the difference between a contiform and a cube and a ring and a donut and Gellhorn and what you might use them for. So I'm not totally ignorant, so I like to know these things. It may not change my management, but it just helps me know what you're doing with them. All right, any pelvic pain issues, what you're doing for them. GH plus PB, so I like that measurement. So anything 7 or under, we're probably not going to worry too much about. 7 to 8 is not too bad in terms of centimeters. 8 and above, then we really got to start talking, and I start getting really conservative on my patients when they start getting over those values. So I'm not actually gung-ho. I might talk about gung-ho things, but I'm actually really conservative. And my women's health physio friends are pushing me just that little bit more sometimes. Because I'll say, oh no, this woman had like an 8 centimetre and she had this and she had that. And then they go, yeah, but when I saw her, she was able to do this and she was able to do that. And then I think she can do this, this and this. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like I just bring everything in once they go over my thresholds. Pelvic floor muscle strength on modified Oxford scale is good for me. Any Paratron measurements, if they're used, I don't mind if you don't use them. There's pros and cons, and I've heard them all. So the quality of the pelvic floor contractions, I like to know what's the difference side to side, what's bearing down, what's resting tone like, any suspected defects, anything weird that you think, what's the obturator doing, let me know. I want to know these things. And then the quality of the pelvic floor contraction during functional movements. So supine, sitting, standing, bending over, sit to stand, squatting, lunging. So this could be, I prefer that you use your fingers personally, but if you want to use like an educator to help you or whatever, it is awkward, but my friends are doing it. It's good. So I know it can be done. I've never seen it because I don't go in there, obviously. It is a bit of juggling around, but it's doable. And obviously it might not be after the initial assessment. I understand that too.
What are they reporting?
Just about whether the...
My question on Facebook, it's not a standard measurement. And
No.
if you're standing there palpating, you're getting them to do a squat.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
Necessarily.
Yeah.
So what are they, like, if they're describing it to you, what do you...
So I think what am I getting back? Yeah, so I think what I'm getting back from them are information like whether they're bearing down and where that pressure's coming from and whether it's a vault descending or whether it's the prolapse worsening or whether the angles have changed. Do you know what I mean? Like where is that pressure coming from?
It's an unnatural thing to stand there with your fingers in something.
Totally unnatural.
And get them to do a contraction and then do a squat or do a lunge. So
But not even a contraction, like just an automatic what's happening. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, because I don't know, like maybe they just do a lot. So they can get,
I'm happy to give you their numbers.
there was no descent or was there this? What do they say?
Um,
Try to just figure out.
Yeah.
Like, are they watching to see, is it the area?
Yes. So sometimes they're watching. I know that because I've said couldn't palpate, so I just watched. Other times they've said that where in the squat they felt like they started to bear down, which is important information for me. It's little things like that.
Well, this isn't about weight, it's just body weight. Or...
Yeah, because most physios don't have weights in their room. And if it is weight, it's only like 5 kilos or something. It's not very heavy.
And I can see how you can do most of them, but how do you do sitting and sit to stand?
I think sitting on the edge of the chair and then standing up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So not sitting back in the chair like that. Yeah. But just get as creative and as functional as possible.
Like,
Any information I can have.
Prolapse is there when they have weight. It's very different. They're bracing. It's very different to when they're just standing there doing a squat.
100%.
So you can get them to like set, do whatever they do to set, and you can kind of see what's going on. They can tell you they feel they're going down, but I don't know that I can give a qualitative measurement.
Yet, I just want to place the thought in your head that it's possible. That maybe it is possible. Maybe we can, I don't know. I don't know if it's reproducible, but intra-tester, there's no evidence for it.
Yeah.
But let's get them off their back and have a feel. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you're saying, but I guess what the powerlifters, what they do in the consulting room is very different to what they do in the gym. And
Yep. I
when they've
agree.
done a set of, I don't know, 8 reps 5 times of an 85 kilo squat, can't produce that fatigue?
Maybe because, and obviously there's all these things that go into it, but there was that research by Nygaard's group, did you see it earlier this year, that compared 20 minutes of CrossFit to 20 minutes of walking? And like, you know, the amount of descent and fatigue was comparable. And like, they had heavy ass deadlifts in there. They had sit-ups in there. They had stuff that women's health physios are traditionally worried about. And 20 minutes of self-paced walking was the same amount of fatigue and descent as doing 20 minutes of a heavy CrossFit workout. And yes, they were nulliparous, and yes, they had at least 6 months of doing either CrossFit or doing no high impact, no high load activity. So, you know, we're guessing, we don't have the research.
Okay.
So, yeah.
If you want us to put it to paper, it's going to have some meaning to it.
Absolutely. But I don't mind if it's just your feelings.
Yeah.
I get a sense that this is what's happening. And this is the best I can give you. Like, and you know, it's any information.
Like, I don't know what's normal for a nulliparous woman at the end of a deep squat. Is she going to have some descent of the perineum? I suspect she will. I'm not everyone, but I don't know what's normal to then compare it to.
So if we just do it on, look, this is, you know how you go on a course? Oh, no, I know. But you know how when you go on a course, everybody gets that palpation or that test today, whether they need it or not, just to practice? I don't think it's unreasonable to get people who exercise in a deep squat to just feel what it feels like, even if it's just for your own, well, this is what it feels like. It's, I don't know. It is. I know. I know. It's not.
I was giving you that information, obviously. It's worked for you, so I'm sure I'll But I don't know that we have all the answers of what's going on inside.
No. But you've got experience. You've got a sense of what's going on in there. You've got more information than I do. And so I'm looking for anything that you say that I might go, okay, I can see the effect of that from the outside. Because I'm just looking for anything. And I'm not saying that there's a protocol on how to do this and what to feel, because I'd give it to you if I had one. Like, these are women's health physio friends who are playing with the positions and just telling me what they're feeling. Like, it's experimental.
Yeah. So we have to tell the patients it's experimental.
Well, I'm just having a feel of what's going on in this position. Yeah. And if you don't want to do the internal, that's cool. Like, we've been talking about using light weights, cubes, like small-ish cubes, things that can be pushed and they can feel descent. And some of my friends are teaching people with their fitted pessaries to feel the descent when they load it past a certain level, so that when they feel descent, they're to stop and rest. So it's all about symptom management, what's going on. There's so much that goes into it. I'm asking you to play a little bit. And if you don't want to give me the information because you don't want to do it, that's cool too. I will take anything you give me. I really will. Any scan results of the area, any advice, any things that you're telling them, because, you know, if I'm going to work with you, I'm going to work with you. And that means that if you give them advice that I don't necessarily agree with, I'm not going to cut you to shreds and throw you under the bus, you know. I'm going to work with you and we're going to try steer our way so that your objectives are met and so are mine. So it's okay to disagree with me. Any other problems that you found? So some people go into pubic symphysis and SRJ and hips and all the rest of it, some don't. Diastasis type stuff, breathing, ribs, all the rest of it. I like an email or a printed report for the patient to come along with. Anything is cool. I'm going to take anything. Phone calls are nice. I obviously like talking to people. It's just really hard to remember what you tell me. I'm old now. It's just, it doesn't, what it's written down is better. All right, now Tara is one of the physios that I do send to, and she's only just given me this afternoon. She broke some ribs, otherwise she would have presented this to you tonight in person. She would have told you what she does with me and when I send her a client. I've never seen Tara treat any of my patients. She works in Strathfield, it's ages away. But when I worked in Marrickville, it's not so far. So I'll just read it out real quick for the benefit of the video. I've enjoyed working with Antony over the last year or two to consult on some of his patients. I find the patient group he refers to be interesting from a clinical reasoning perspective, and they've so far been happy to listen to the advice given and take on board my recommendations, and they are more motivated than the average patient to follow their exercise programs. That's because they want to keep training. After assessing the patient, I'll give them a detailed explanation of the pelvic floor condition, discuss pelvic floor safe exercises with the patient, including the risk profile for prolapse or pelvic floor dysfunction, and provide a treatment program if needed. In some cases, I'll fit a pessary to allow the patient to continue exercising safely if they do have significant pelvic organ prolapse or high risk factors. I then report back to Antony to give him an overview of the pelvic floor parameters to guide him, such as pelvic floor resting tone, modified Oxford strength with or without Peritron, the ability to relax the pelvic floor, trigger points or pelvic floor overactivity, anatomical defects such as levator avulsions or asymmetrical pelvic floor muscle bulk or strength, presence of prolapse, pelvic floor muscle descent and extensibility, GH plus PB, pelvic floor coordination, bracing ability on relevant exercises. And this might involve an internal examination or an educator for exercises such as crunches, Pilates style exercises, standing, with squatting, with weights, etc., along with their best pelvic floor activation cues. So Tara is doing some of this stuff for me. This way he can incorporate their pelvic floor condition into the patient's more global treatment program. With this approach, we can work together with our own skill sets to nut out what's really going on and get the best outcome for the patient. So Tara's been great. She always emails me something about the patient. And because she does that, I just keep sending her people. It's like, you know what, you give me such good information, I can help my patients so much more. I just keep sending back to her. But now that I've settled down here in Oatley, I want to use the locals. And like I said, I can't just keep using Tara because, you know, she's just one person. We've got to get lots more people. So I want to refer out to others. And she knows that. It's all good. Okay, what do you need from me to refer to you? So I've just stood here, I've told you all the stuff that I want. What sort of stuff helps you? Do you want to see these types of clients? Like, some people may not want to see these people. Yeah? I do have a bit of a following in the Wollongong CrossFitters. So yeah,
I find it challenging, Antony, from the point of view, they come once.
They come once?
Might give them some advice, might recommend a nursery, they're not ready for that. I see the prolapse, so I can't say you don't have any prolapse. And some of them have stage 2. They, you know, it's been a long time explaining to them, but they'd rather go see the physio that doesn't do anything internal. So, to be perfectly honest, it's not a group that I chase for work because they're not reliable. But I don't know if anyone else is doing it. They might come once or twice. And they don't want to stop, and that's okay. I've gone to speak to their coach, who, like, it's known that everyone wears a tampon, the tampons fall out while they're lifting, they push themselves, and that's what we're doing, that's what we do. He's a very good coach, but women that I've seen that didn't have a prolapse after their baby now have prolapse, stage 2 plus.
Yeah,
so
that's really distressing for me.
It's awkward, Antony, because I know what's going on inside.
Yep.
They don't want to acknowledge what's going on inside. Or they want you to say, go to a doctor, and a doctor will surgically fix it and then you can go and lift again. And that's difficult because it seems like their max, once they take themselves up body weight squats, body weight deadlifts, that's when they start to break. You know? And so I've seen their prolapse. I can't say, oh yeah, it's just normal. Because it is now coming down, and I've seen it. And the GHPT is less than 7. Their resting pressure is 40. They're strong. They just have distensible tissue. So that's where, you know, I'm happy to see them, but my advice, I have to always weigh up, are they going to get worse if they just keep doing this? I'm not going to tell them necessarily to stop, but they need to consider precautions, and their coach doesn't want to have a band-aid solution. So, you know, I find it tricky.
Yep.
I'm not a lifter, I can't lift, I've got, you know, pelvic floor damage, I'm never going to lift. So I can't feel what they're feeling to try it on myself. And yeah, so it's challenging. So it's great, I feel like Tara, I'll just find a difficult client group, and I'm not aggressive towards them, I'm just, this is what I see objectively, and these are options. And
yep.
So once we talk about that, often they'll go, yeah, I'll do whatever it takes, and they don't come back.
Yeah, and
whatever it takes, they don't want to stop, so it's okay. Like, I'm not asking them to stop, they might need to reduce their weights until they improve their technique.
Yep.
And I still can't guarantee that it won't get worse.
Yep.
Because I've seen, like, they don't have big GHPT, they've got little,
yep.
just straining through the vagina.
Yeah, and it's a technique problem, and hopefully in just a few minutes I'll show you just some simple things that I use with weights to help people with that. I've just had a couple of, there's a powerlifting coach who has sent me a couple of people now. No, not from down south. From in the inner west. But already he's seeing the benefits, and they're lifting more than they have for years. And one of them came with musculoskeletal pain. So long as they get results, people are happy to send people. It's about teaching you, I would say, how to change what you say so that you can convince them to keep going and to keep coming and to keep changing. Because if the change doesn't produce measurable results, they will see it as not being useful. And unless you can speak that language, it's difficult. So what I see as part of my role is to take your concerns, like I said in my mission, take your concerns and go and act like a mediator, translator between the two of you, so that they understand the full importance of what's going on and they understand how to change. And so that's the second part of the mission, which is teaching you how to change their technique differently or give them better ideas on what to feel and things like that. So we'll do some of that tonight, if you want. You don't have to if you don't want to, but yeah.
Do you think that this client group will still be better off having had their pelvic floor assessment and their advice given to them for their training, so that at least they know what they can expect?
It's CrossFit, like, obviously with the practice, so we're a sports clinic. So they will go 20 times to get their back adjusted or whatever to continue.
Oh, I know.
But once to the pelvic floor physio, and the uterus is halfway out the vagina.
But it's perceived value.
You know, it's kind of tricky, Antony. I find it awkward.
It's illogical.
Ethically, like, I'm a bit challenged by...
It's illogical.
Business doesn't want them to stop lifting because they're great clients. They come in once a week, they get their, whatever. But because I've seen it, you don't see the prolapse. You can ask the questions, but you don't necessarily see. Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. So it's there, it's in our report.
I've seen stuff.
And most women will have a stage 1.
Yes.
After an anterior vaginal birth, after a vaginal birth, they'll have a stage 1 anterior vaginal practice. Most women will have that. These women don't. They've got a stage 2, a stage 3.
Yep.
It's coming outside now. So,
I know.
You know, unless they are not going to try a pursuit, but it doesn't necessarily stop it.
I've
From my
taken.
own experience, yes, they can still get worse.
I think the stage 2s are the ones that I can make the biggest difference on. Stage 3 starts to be a lot more challenging. But I've had some, like I don't see many stage 3s, but stage 2s I do. And we're talking improvements that women's health physios are happy with. So that's technique modification, training modification, program modification, working with the coach and using their language, because I speak their language, to be able to make the modifications and still hit the goals. I think that's the key. And if you are struggling with that, then shoot them up the highway. Like I have a money back guarantee. If they're not happy with what I've done, I'll give people their money back. So shoot them up the highway and say, it's going to cost you this much, and if you're not happy, just ask for your money back. And and I will back you. I will back you.
When I say to them,
100%.
sure, keep lifting 80 kilos.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to. Remember, I'm conservative. I won't let them. Right? If you feel like they shouldn't, I won't let them.
Well, it's hard to say when they should stop. You know, because we look at those measures, but we still only got the measures.
But it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, you've also got clinical experience. And if you're seeing things that are heading down a certain way and they don't understand the importance of it, shoot them up the highway, make them understand, and then show them how things can change. And then give them a time limit. You've got to do this way. You're going to get it right. And if Kate examines you in 4 weeks' time, in 6 weeks' time, and we're not seeing any improvement, then you're going to have to do this. And if we see improvement, then we're going to progress this way. Because that's all they want. They just want a plan. And it works. And I have... Yeah. And you know... No. I'm going to tell you, they tell me that they didn't value the consultation. They're going to say that I didn't get anything out of it. That's what they're telling me. And it's not about you. I'm saying for the ones that only go once and never go back, they say, yeah, I went, but I didn't get anything from it. So I'm going to suggest that the information that you give is good, but you're going to have to present it differently. I trust you all to give the right information, I really do. And again, you girls are the experts, not me. But I do know how to communicate with them. And, you know, it's not easy. And they will change. They will change. You just need a bit of social support. You need a bit of social backing. And I will back you. And I've got friends down there who understand what I do, and they will back you just because I say to back her. So, you know, we just got to get started. But I need your help. I need your help. Even if you just send me people, I will do one for free. We need to get the ball rolling. Do you know what I mean? We need to work together and let people see what that looks like, so that they can see the value, and then we can start really accelerating the spread of this information. Because I know what you've seen, and I've seen I've got lovely women's health physio friends who will send me videos and photos just to gross me out and say, this is what I see every day. And I say, yes, but you see the tip of the iceberg. Not everybody's like that. But they're happy to gross me out. You know, I've seen some horrible stuff, and I understand the dilemma that you're in. So if you feel like they shouldn't do it, and you've just got all the feelings from your clinical experience and your measures, I will back you. I will say, don't lift. I have stopped people from lifting. For all my Facebook going-ons, you know, histrionics, I tell people all the time that they have to stop lifting. Because clinically, sometimes they do. And sometimes they're not ready to accept it. So I just plant a seed and I wait. And then I check how they're going. Yeah, no, it's still pretty bad. How do you think CrossFit in the future is going to look? Oh, yeah, maybe. All right. Yeah, check on them a couple of weeks later. How are you feeling? Still the same. How do you think CrossFit for you in the future is going to look? yeah, I'm beginning to think that maybe it's not the best thing for me. Ah, cool. And then I just keep moving them. Yeah. Because maintaining communication is important with them. Cutting them off means that I'm cutting them off from a good source of information. Because I think that I'm a good source of information. Is there anything in particular that you want me, when I refer to you, to do? Because I'll send you stuff. I just don't know what you want. Like when I send a Tara, I say, okay, this one's a medium level CrossFitter, competes in the local competitions. I think she's freaking strong. And, you know, and I suspect from listening to her story that she's got this. And I want you to check for an avulsion because she had a forceps delivery and, you know, some of the history just seems odd. And then she'll come back to me with everything and it's cool. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to know? Cool. Practical fun. So these are just a sample of some of the concepts that I've used and I've developed. So challenging conventional beliefs about women's health physio and the core and exercise. So if you want a detailed history, just hang out on Facebook for a while. I'm happy to do it, I'm just conscious of time. Spread the load is something I want to teach you tonight. Attention to task is something I want to teach you. Overcooking the cues is something else that I want to teach you, and I'm happy for you to experience the bulletproof your pelvic floor routine. I want to just finish on this practical part, so what I might do is just go through the rest of it and then we'll stop the video and we'll have a play. So thank you very much for coming tonight. We both see a subgroup of patients that really do need both you and I to be working with them. We both have special skill sets that will work well with each other. And we really should refer to each other because together we can cover more of the population and spread this information around, spread this awareness. I always recommend that women see a women's health physio for that internal assessment. And it's okay. I'm teaching them that when you go, and she says, you know what, you're all good, all the numbers are good, your strength's good, all this is good. Don't feel like it was a waste because it's really important that you know that you're okay. It's kind of like going to the doctor for a skin cancer check and he says, oh, you got no skin cancer. You don't feel ripped off, you feel grateful. It's the same sort of thing. And I hope you feel that you can refer patients to me so that we can meet their goals and, you know, I can translate your concerns to them in their language. So there's resources here, but you know what? Most important for you probably would be a reference list that I keep on my website, My PT Education. It's in the resources section there. So if you're ever looking for papers, I've got most of the papers that are on my resource list. So it's quite extensive. Don't forget that there is the course that you can listen to. Laurie listened to it recently. She goes, I've forgotten how good this course is. It's like, oh, good. She thinks it's good, so that's good. And of course, thank you to Laurie, thank you to Natalie, thank you to Tara, thank you to Taryn, and all the other women's health physio friends that I've got around the world that chat to me about this stuff. And thanks to Jessica for allowing me to work here and adopting me. It's like putting the band back together. It's been good. We work really well together. There are my contact details, and the contact details should be on the very top. You can always call me, SMS me, Facebook me, Instagram, whatever.